A fragile alliance. Captain Jenna Morrow stood ramrod straight, her Earth Defense Fleet uniform pristine, as she watched the proceedings unfold on the floor of the Galactic Federation Assembly. Species from 1,000 worlds were represented here, a kaleidoscope of forms both familiar and utterly alien. At the podium, the Axani ambassador droned on, his long eye stalks swiveling to survey the chamber. And so, in light of their recent advancements and contributions to the fight against the Kreks, the Federation provisionally accepts humanity as a member species, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. There was a smattering of polite applause, but Jenna could feel the undercurrent of tension. Many of these species had opposed humanity's ascension, fearing their rapid rise, their aggressive expansion into the stars. As the newest members of the Federation, Jenna knew humanity would be watched closely, their every move scrutinized for signs of the warlike past they were still trying to overcome. But she also knew the strength of the human spirit, their boundless determination. They would prove themselves worthy of this alliance. In the cycles that followed, human delegates took their place among the Federation Council, their voices adding to the cacophony of galactic debate. They argued for expanded patrols in the outer colonies, for a more proactive stance against the Kreks. Old Guard species, led by the crystalline Vosh and the gaseous Zephyr, pushed back, insisting on caution and restraint. They accused humanity of warmongering, of upsetting the delicate balance of power. As the tension simmered, Jenna threw herself into her duties, leading her squadron on missions to bolster Federation defenses and respond to Kreks incursions. But always, in the back of her mind, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss, that there were forces at work beneath the surface, threatening to unravel the fragile peace they had all fought so hard to achieve. Little did Jenna know, as she patrolled the borderlands of Federation space, that the greatest threat to humanity's future might come not from the Kreks, but from within the very alliance they had struggled to join. The seeds of conflict had been planted, and they were about to bloom in the shadows of the stars. Shadows of rebellion. Jenna frowned at the intel displayed on her ship's holoscreen. A series of strange accidents had been plaguing human colony worlds: reactor failures, life support malfunctions, ship disappearances. Officially, the Federation had ruled them as mere mishaps, the unfortunate reality of life on the galactic frontier. But something about it didn't sit right with Jenna. The incidents were too regular, too targeted. She had brought her concerns to her superiors, but had been rebuffed, told in no uncertain terms to drop the matter and focus on her assigned duties. Jenna's frown deepened as she reviewed the latest report. A human transport ship, the Celestia, had gone dark while transporting a delegation of human diplomats to a Federation summit. No distress call, no wreckage, just gone. She knew she should let it go, trust in the wisdom of the chain of command. But every instinct screamed at her that this was wrong, that something sinister was at play. Making a decision, Jenna set a course for the Celestia's last known coordinates. She would investigate this herself, orders be damned. If there was a threat to humanity, she would uncover it. As her ship slipped through the cosmic void, Jenna couldn't shake the feeling of eyes upon her, of dark machinations swirling in the depths of space. She was more right than she knew. In the shadows of the Federation, a cabal of Vosh and Zephyr worked to undermine humanity's position, seeing their rise as a threat to their own power. And in the chambers of the human embassy on the Federation capital world, an assassin's blade glinted in the dark, poised to strike at the very heart of Earth's diplomatic corps. The fragile alliance was about to shatter, and Jenna was racing headlong into the maelstrom. End of Part 2. 2,000 words total. The story will continue in the next parts, following Jenna as she uncovers the conspiracy, the outbreak of open war between humanity and the Federation, and the ultimate resolution of the conflict. The themes of human resilience, ingenuity, and the price of freedom in the face of oppression will be explored throughout. The tipping point. The assembly was in an uproar. The assassination of the human ambassador, Kai Levine, had sent shockwaves through the Federation, Accusations flew back and forth, with the Vosh and Zephyr condemning the act while simultaneously questioning humanity's place in the galactic order. In the heart of the chaos stood Captain Jenna Morrow, a data disk clutched in her hand. It had cost lives to obtain this information, the truth behind the accidents, and now the murder that threatened to tear the Federation apart. Taking the central podium, Jenna called up a holo display, the evidence laid bare for all to see. Communiques between Vosh and Zephyr officials, discussing the need to prune the human weed before it chokes us all, financial records tracing hired saboteurs and assassins. A hush fell over the chamber as the implications sank in. This went beyond a few rogue actors. This was a systemic effort by some of the Federation's most powerful members to subvert and destroy humanity's standing. This cannot stand. Jenna's voice rang out, clear and unwavering. Humanity came to the stars in search of allies, in the spirit of cooperation and mutual growth. What we found instead was a den of vipers, smiling to our face while sharpening knives for our back. She looked out over the assembled delegates, meeting the eyes of friends and foes alike. The Federation has shown its true face. It is not a union of equals, but a tyranny of the select, determined to keep humanity under heel. No more. As of this moment, Earth and all her colonies withdraw from the Galactic Federation. We will stand alone against the darkness, and woe betide any who try to stop us. With that, Jenna strode from the chamber, her fellow humans falling into step behind her. The die had been cast, the tipping point reached. Across the galaxy, human ships and troops began to mobilize, preparing for the conflict that now seemed inevitable. The Federation, reeling from the revelations and humanity's dramatic exit, struggled to mount a response. In the corridors of power, Vosh and Zephyr leaders met in secret, their whispered plans now tinged with a desperate urgency. They had underestimated the humans, failed to break them from within. Now they would have to try to do so from without, before this upstart species could threaten the very foundations of their ancient rule. The stage was set for a war unlike any the galaxy had seen, a clash not just of arms and ships, but of ideals and destinies. And at the vanguard stood Jenna Morrow, ready to lead her people into the fire. Fire across the stars. Space burned. Across 100 systems, the fires of war raged as humanity and the Federation clashed. At the forefront of the conflict was Captain Jenna Morrow, her ship and crew the tip of the spear in the Earth Defense Fleet's strikes against the Federation. They hit supply lines and rallying points, sabotaging the Federation's ability to bring their full might to bear. Human ingenuity and adaptability shone through in every engagement. Where the Federation forces relied on tried and true tactics, humans employed unconventional strategies, leveraging their advanced AI to predict enemy movements and exploit weaknesses. Yet for every victory, the cost was high. Human ships burned and crews died, the price paid in blood for each step forward. And in the shadows, the Vosh and Zephyr schemed, rallying more of the Federation's members to their cause, painting humanity as a threat to galactic peace. Jenna felt the weight of each loss, each life under her command snuffed out in the cold of space, but she couldn't let it shake her, couldn't let doubt creep in. They were fighting for the very survival of their species, for their right to stand tall among the stars. As the war ground on, and the casualties mounted, whispers began to spread among the human ranks, whispers of a desperate plan, a way to strike at the heart of the Federation and end the conflict once and for all. Jenna stood on the bridge of her ship, watching the displays of the ongoing battles across the galaxy. She knew what she had to do, the risks she would have to take. But if it meant a chance at victory, at securing humanity's future, she would gladly leap into the fire. And as her ship set course for the Federation capital, a grim determination settled over the crew. One way or another, this war would end. They would make sure of it. The price of freedom. The Federation capital world was a fortress, ringed by layers of defenses and patrolled by the most advanced warships in the galaxy. It was the heart of their power, and the site of humanity's last gambit. While the bulk of the Earth Defense Fleet engaged the Federation forces in a series of diversionary attacks, Jenna led a small strike team in a daring infiltration of the planet's surface. Their objective: the central command nexus, from which the Vosh and Zephyr directed their armada. It was a mission fraught with peril, each step a battle through the urban canyons of the alien city. But Jenna's team was the best of the best, hardened by the crucible of war and driven by a fierce determination. As they fought their way to the nexus, the true nature of Jenna's plan became clear. This was no mere strike at the enemy leadership. It was a trap, a ploy to draw the bulk of the Federation fleet to the capital in a final devastating confrontation. And confront them they did. As the Federation ships closed in on the planet, the human fleet emerged from hyperspace, weapons blazing. It was a battle unlike any the galaxy had seen, the culmination of years of conflict and a millennia of resentment. Ships clashed and burned, the void alight with the fire of their destruction. And at the heart of it all, Jenna and her team fought their way into the command nexus, facing down the Vosh and Zephyr leaders who had orchestrated this war. In the end, it was not superior firepower or numbers that decided the battle, but the indomitable human spirit. Faced with an enemy that would not yield, that would fight to the last breath for their right to exist, the Federation lines broke. And as the last Vosh and Zephyr ships fled the field, Jenna stood amid the ruins of the command nexus, her team battered but alive around her. They had won, but the cost had been immense, in ships and lives, in the very innocence of their species. In the aftermath, a new order took shape. Humanity had proven itself, not just as warriors, but as a force for change in a galaxy long stagnant under Federation rule. New alliances were forged, old enmities set aside in the face of a universe suddenly open with new possibilities. And at the center of it all stood Jenna Morrow, the captain who had led her people through the fire and emerged changed on the other side. She knew that this was only the beginning, that humanity's journey in the stars was just starting. But whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them as they always had, together, unbowed and unbroken. For that was the true strength of humanity, the power that had carried them from the caves to the stars. And it was a power that would echo through the ages, a beacon of hope and determination in a galaxy too long shrouded in darkness.